Hey again everyone, today we're going to be looking at the Thrustmaster T-LCM load cell pedals, which have also been supplied by NZGaming, so another big thanks to NZGaming for this opportunity. Just like that last video I did the other day about the Thrustmaster TGT2 wheelbase, I'm going to be going through some of my first impressions with the T-LCM load cell pedals and comparing them to what I have been running on Gran Turismo in particular in recent months, which would be the Logitech G29 pedal set. I've also run the Fanatec V3 Club Sport pedals, which I might be comparing to as well throughout the video. So I've got myself a very temporary foot cam set up here. The lighting might not be too great, hopefully it turns out okay, but here in front of us here we have the T-LCM load cell pedals, and one of the first comments I have to make is the materials is really nice quality compared to some of the other Thrustmaster pedals and other sim racing pedals in general. There's a lot of plasticky, not so great quality type pedals out there, but each pedal here in the T-LCMs is metal, so it allows you to put your force on the pedals without worrying of breaking them. The Logitech G29 also has some metal pedals, but the overall quality of the entire base and the mountings just wasn't as good. And another thing with the Logitech G29 pedals is there's a little bit of side-to-side movement on the pedals, particularly on the brake pedal, but on these pedals it's a lot less. There's still a very little bit of play in them, but it's nothing compared to what I was having with the Logitechs. Overall, the Logitech pedals actually aren't that bad for a beginner pedal set, but I tell you what, having the load cell upgrade on these things and just the extra weight in general just makes it worth the extra money. So let's get out there, do a little bit of driving my old Honda S800 here, just at Tsukuba and with a bunch of other cars on track. Got a little bit more of an awkward driving position with the way I've got the camera set up, but it's not too bad. So what are we going to talk about first? Well, another thing to note is that the clutch and the throttle pedal, I'm not going to be using the clutch today because it's not really necessary in Gran Turismo, but both the clutch and the throttle pedal feel exactly the same on these pedals, and they have the same weight and travel distance and everything. They're similar to the Logitechs, except they're just a little heavier to press. So there's not a huge amount to comment on both of those pedals, but where all the magic happens is on the brake pedal. Now with the standard springs on the Thrustmaster T-LCMs, the pedal is actually quite stiff as it is, for the brake pedal that is, and I found myself pushing quite a lot harder than I would be with the Logitech pedals. But if I'm going to compare it to the load cell Fanatec V3s that I would be doing, it's a little bit softer than that. And the other thing I'm going to compare with these pedals compared to the Fanatec's is that there's a little bit more pedal travel on these Thrustmasters compared to the Fanatec ones, which I'm not sure what most people think about that, but I kind of enjoy the extra movement on the pedal. But even when I do get to the end of the brake pedal's travel, as you'll see on the screen, I've reached it now, but there's still about another 30% available on the brake meter on the actual game, so you'll just have to press extra hard once you get to the end of the travel. But yeah, you do have to put quite a lot of force on these pedals to get to 100%, which is nice. It allows you to be a bit more aggressive with your inputs. And now comparing back to the Logitech pedals again, with those being potentiometers, it's all about how far the pedal travels. With these load cell pedals, it's about how much pressure you're putting on. My most frustrating experiences with the Logitech pedals comes to trail braking. And with the Logitech pedals, it's hard for me to tell exactly what point in the pedal I'm trail braking properly with, because I can't really feel it. In the first 50% or so with the Logitech pedals, it all feels kind of the same, so I'm not quite sure exactly how much of the pedal I'm pressing on. So often when I'm coming into the turns, I'm having to have a quick look at my braking input meter on the screen to see how much I'm braking, and that's distracting and costs me time. But with the load cells, both this and the Fanatec pedals that I've used before, I can feel it more. I can feel when I'm trail braking. I know exactly how much pressure I need to press, and I get that muscle memory quite easily with these pedals. So these Thrustmasters are load cell pedals, and so are the Fanatec. So what makes these cheaper than those Fanatec pedals? If I'm going to be honest, the overall build quality of the Fanatec V3s is a little bit better. It's all metal, everything's really good quality on those, all well refined. And it's also got rumble kits on the back of the throttle and brake pedals, which is very helpful. Not in all sims, because some sims don't have the greatest rumble kit feedback, but particularly on iRacing, you get really good braking feedback through the rumble kits. But these pedals don't have that, so that's one reason why these pedals aren't worth quite as much. And also with the brake pedal adjustment, with the Fanatec's, all you have to do is go behind the pedal and twist it a little bit, and you've got a stiffer pedal. With these ones, you have to take the springs out and replace them yourself, which isn't too difficult, but it's just a little bit less of a convenience with these pedals. The actual feel of these pedals compared to the Fanatics I just mentioned before. These ones have a little bit more travel in them, and by standard they're quite soft. I'd probably want to actually try some of the stiffer springs. I'll get to that and cover that a little bit more in my more in-depth review later on. But even as it is quite stiff, and I read on the website that these pedals can take, or the load cell can take up to about 100 kgs of force, which is quite a lot. And it really did not take me that long to get used to these pedals, and before long, you saw me driving in that previous video reviewing the wheel. In that video, I was more than comfortable using the pedals. It felt so natural. It was, along with the wheel, experiencing them both at the same time just makes the car a lot more natural and easier to drive. And it's all in the trail braking. When I'm coming into a turn and I'm beginning to peel off the brake pedal, it's so much nicer with the load cell pedals, as you can feel how much pressure you need to input or reduce as you're coming into a turn. So I'm going to come into this hairpin here, I'm going to brake hard and then begin to peel off the brake pedal until I'm about halfway, and then I can drop off and get back onto the throttle. When I'm entering a turn like this and I want to trail brake with about 10% on the brakes or so, I can feel how much that is. I can use my muscle memory to get that much, hit that mark every single time. It just wasn't really the same way with the Logitech pedals. I had to keep checking my brake inputs to see if I was hitting my marks with the trail braking, and more often than not, every time I'd check my braking inputs, I'd have about 50% input, whereas I'm trying to reach 10%, and that's all because I can't really use my muscle memory to get that accurate. The pedal was just too soft, and it wasn't going off the pressure that I'm putting onto the pedal. And I will say it right now, if all you want is to help improve your driving with a better brake pedal, then this is all you need. The quality of these pedals is actually really nice, and they will have quite a long lifetime. I would only really recommend spending that extra money on the Fanatics if you do want to go for that extra detail and for something like iRacing with the rumble kits. And that's the only other useful feature I really got out of the Fanatics, was the rumble kits, and they only really work well on a few sims. I don't have too much to say like I did with the wheel, but what I am happy with is that this is a nice step up from the Logitech pedals, and I would say these are a game changer, especially if you're into the hardcore sims. When it comes to your trail braking, these will help you be a lot more consistent with your braking, and even faster. If you get your trail braking right, you'll pick up a lot of time. There we go, just crossing the line for our little race there. It was a little awkward to drive with the camera in the way, but it still felt pretty good, to be honest. Just a lot easier to balance your braking, and also for cars that don't have ABS on sims like iRacing, where locking up will absolutely ruin your race, these kind of pedals will save you. I remember back to driving on iRacing with the Logitech pedals. It's just so easy to lock up. You don't know how hard you need to press, or how little you need to press rather, because it doesn't take a lot of input on those pedals to lock up on iRacing. With these pedals it takes a lot more force to get to 100%, so it's easier to balance around the 80% mark. And remember, threshold braking is the best way to brake. Going too hard, locking up, will slow you down. Using too much ABS will also slow you down. So with the way these things are set up, very helpful. I'll spend a bit more time driving with these pedals and the wheelbase. Remember, if you're from New Zealand and you're looking to upgrade your sim racing gear, or even get into sim racing with a new wheel and pedal set, check out NZGaming. I've got the link in the description, and also a direct link to this wheelbase and the pedals as well. But be sure to check them out. NZGaming have also supplied me with the Ferrari SF1000 replica wheel for the Thrustmaster, which I'm yet to try out. That'll be coming in another video very soon as well. I hope this helps give you a little bit more info on these pedals. They're not top of the line, but they're definitely not near the bottom. They're a solid set of pedals if all you're wanting to do is improve your driving experience and help you get that little bit extra consistency and even pace maybe. Definitely having a much more enjoyable time using these pedals compared to the Logitech G29s. And I've said it, and a lot of people do say it as well, that if you're going to upgrade, it's almost better to upgrade your pedals first before the wheel, because you get a lot more time under your braking than most other areas on the track. So thank you all for watching, take care, and I'll catch you very soon.